Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic. When she come into your place, yo, you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick, the critic. When she all up in your city, yo, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it, and if she get with it, let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if it's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick, the critic, 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 Rick, the critic.
Welcome to Rick the Critic, and I'm glad to be in your living room today. Listen, today we're going to probably talk a little bit of serious stuff, a little bit of crazy stuff, and we're just going to have a kind of a, it's not a downer time, but I am a little disappointed, so I do want to talk about it. First of all, I had a chance to work the polls June the 8th. I was down in Colorado working the polls for the primaries, and I was just so saddened. I got there at 6, the polls opened at 7, and they closed at 8 o'clock. And from 7 to 8 o'clock, I think we probably had all of maybe 110, maybe 115 people to come and to vote. So when I left there, I was a little saddened because I really thought that there would be a much larger turnout. And then as I talked to other people, even in LA, a couple of ladies from the school board where they had polling places in the schools said the same thing, that the attendance was very, very low. So I guess it was just kind of all across the board, and I kept thinking, what is going on here? Has everyone just kind of felt like there's no reason to vote? So today I want to talk about why we should vote. I mean, it's really important. The governor of California, I mean, clearly, we should have had more people to come and vote. I mean, we had 23 candidates for governor, 23. And I only saw 110 people, maybe 112 people in the course of a day from 7 to 8 o'clock. That's a long time. That's over 12 hours, and I didn't see anyone there. And I mean, I didn't see any young people. I didn't see a lot of, it wasn't a big turnout. So what I did, I talked to my granddaughter the other day. She's down from Las Vegas. And so I asked her, I said, John, what is this thing? Did you vote? Even though she lives in Las Vegas. She said, no, Grammy, I didn't vote because I had just turned 18. And then she said to me, well, what difference does it make even if I did vote? I mean, and I said, what do you mean, what difference does it make? This is coming from an 18-year-old. So I'm thinking to myself, an 18-year-old should know, I mean, she should have some values about voting. She should know that we cannot support our president if we don't vote on a lower level. We've got mayor, governors, I mean, council people. We've got all these people that are in office that help us bring the message to a higher, anarchy, and we can't even do a thing on a lower level. What's happened? What's going on out there? I need some feedback. I need somebody to write me, call me, or something, because I cannot understand why we had such a low turnout for governor of California. All last year, all the year before that, all I heard was complain. He's this, he's that, he doesn't want to do this, he's cutting this, he's cutting that. Well, hell, if he's cutting it, if he's doing all this and we don't want him and he's gone, why don't we go out and vote and put who we want to put in there? Okay, I guess you're probably saying, even if we do vote, we might not. Well, if we don't try, if we don't vote, how do we know? We can no longer sit back and say, well, my vote doesn't count, so I'm not going to vote. That is such a pathetic excuse. What do you mean it doesn't count? Don't you know that our tax dollars, everything that we do, every person that we put into office, every person we put into office is accountable to us. If we have a situation or a problem, we can write letters, we can call, we can go in, we have a voice. But if we don't vote, we don't have a voice. So what if we couldn't vote? Think about this. What if our vote was taken away from us and we were no longer able to vote? Then we would have to just deal with whoever they gave us or whoever was in power. That's who we just have to accept him or her. Then what? And I guess we'd be complaining about that too. I am so tired of hearing people, and after sitting there and seeing firsthand 110 or 112 people come out and vote in the course of 12 hours, I tell you, it was very, very disheartening. And because of that, I felt a great appeal to come on and talk about why we need to vote. People, get up. We need to get out and vote. We need to, okay, November is voting time again. And even though you did not vote, you know what I'm saying, in June, November, I don't know how, I mean, maybe for the next few months, maybe I just need to talk about voting until everybody gets it. We cannot be hurt. We cannot say anything if we don't vote. If we don't vote, we don't have anything to say. Whoever gets in office, whether it's the hillside strangler or whether it's a serial killer or rapist or whatever, if they get into office and you don't vote, you have nothing to say. Nothing to say. I am just so totally disappointed in the turnout, the voter turnout. I am so disappointed. If I had not been there to see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have even believed it. I am so very disappointed. My plea to you is please vote. Go out and vote. I do not care if you feel like your vote does not count. I do not care if you feel like, it's not going to make a difference. What I'm telling you is this. If you go out and you at least make the effort to vote, even if it doesn't go your way, at least you've tried. Don't sit back. It's such a pathetic excuse to sit back on your butt and say, well, I don't vote. What in the ham sandwich do you mean you don't vote? Oh, that's cupcakes. You need to vote. You need to vote. You need to make a difference. You need to have your voice heard. I personally am going to go out to the colleges for the next few months and encourage voter registration. I will be encouraging, so if you see me out and about asking you to vote, don't run and hide like I'm the census taker. And speaking of the census taker, were you guys intimidated by the census taker? I was. Oh, Jesus. He knocked on my door and I said, they are so intimidating. They come and they're not mean, but they are intimidating as all heck. I mean, they come and it's like, we only need 5 or 10 minutes of your time. And you're like, okay. You can't say no to these guys. I mean, when they knock like the police. My door was open and it was like, bam, bam, bam. And so I said, yes. And I thought, I swear to God, I really thought I had filled it out. I really did. And apparently I hadn't because he was there. So I did the census. I took it and I did what I needed to do. But listen, these guys are so serious. So if you have not sent anything in and they have not called you, be prepared because they are like the Terminator. They will be back. They do not stop at you're not there. They will make visit after visit after visit after visit after visit until they get you. So to eliminate frustration from them and you being frustrated, just give them what they need. It only takes a few minutes. Fill out the census, give it to the census taker, and let him be about his merry way, and he won't be back to bother you again for another few years. And actually, I think you have, 72 years before they can even divulge your information publicly. So you have 72 years not to worry about anything. And for some of us, we might not even live 72 more years. So take the census, fill it out, do what you need to do, and let them go on about their business. Okay, that's the census taker. We talked about voting, and now we're talking about census taker. And I need to talk about, I talked about the vitamin shop last month. I talked about how I really felt like they were dissing me because when I went there, and let me go over the story again for some of you who may not have seen the program. I went to the vitamin shop over on Lake, and when I went in, this lady, Melissa, I think her name was Melissa, she helped me, and we're going around, we're looking for vitamins and all kind of different stuff. I'm really trying to do better, guys. And so we go around and we're looking for stuff, and as we get all of this, we get all my vitamins and all the things that I need, and she's very helpful, and we come to the counter, and she brings everything there, and there's a gentleman standing on the side, and he's there waiting, and she says to me, she looks at me and says, you know, I'm going to help him. And she says, I'm going to help him. And she just leaves me, and she goes right to him, and she helps him. So I sat there, and I kind of waited for a minute, and I thought, now this is very wrong. So when she finishes, I let her finish with him. I started, Rick normally would have said, you know, wait a minute. I do have a problem with you helping him. I need for you to help me to finish this transaction and then go to him. But I didn't do that. So anyway, she comes back to me, and so I asked her, I said, could you tell me, please, why you helped him? And you and I were here. I mean, we've gone all around the store, picked up all these vitamins and all this. And she says, I was trained to do that. So I thought, and I got to tell you the truth, I really thought it was a bunch of crap. And in my mind, I thought, that is the crummiest thing I have ever heard. Because number one, it was so easy to look at him and say, I'll be with you in 1 second, sir. You know, let me finish helping her with her transaction, and then I will come and help you. That would have been the right thing to do if you're trained properly, but she didn't. So she said, so I was a little pissed off. I really was. And so I left there really teed off, and I talked about it too. And you guys know how I am. You know, I'll talk about it. Anyway, last week I had a chance to go back in there again. I had to pick up something. They had something on sale there that I wanted, and you know, they're like the cheapest place in town, and I've already told you that. So I went back in there, and I was all geared up for this. So I go to the counter, and as I'm at the counter, this young man is helping a lady and her son, and they're walking around and they're getting vitamins, pretty much the same thing that I was doing a few months ago. So what happens is when the guy comes to the counter, he looks at me and he says, okay, can I help you? The same scenario, except it's me this time in that position. So I looked at him and I said, why will you not help? I mean, you've been walking around with them, you've been helping them, and how could you come to me and ask and start to help me after you've been with them all this time? So he says to me, we've been trained that. And I said, oh, God. So now, number one, I know that they clearly have been trained that way. But then he went on to say something else to me, which was really interesting. I said to him, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Why don't you just say to me that you'll be right with me in a moment and you help them? He says, well, he says, when we're away from the counter, we don't know how long the patron has been waiting. And so sometimes the patrons get very, very angry with us when we come back to the counter, and it's like, I've been waiting here, da-da-da-da-da, I've been standing here, blah, 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 and you haven't. So we have, you know, we can do it either way, but we've really been trained to just go and help them. So really what they're saying is that they reward bad, a tantrum or someone that is clearly uncooperative. If you come to the counter and no one is there, and the salesperson comes to the counter with a customer, to me, it would be customary, and it would make very good, it would make etiquette, it'd be nice, it would make good sense to me, and I would think it would be sales etiquette to say, hold on a minute, I'll be right with you. Help the person that you've been helping, let them and handle their transaction, and then go to the other person. Okay, so now then, so when I said that to him, he says, well, we can do it either or. And so now what I'm saying to you listeners is that they really are trained like that. Isn't that stupid? It's probably like the most stupid thing I've ever heard. How do you just reward bad behavior? If I come to the counter and I come in and I see that no one is there, and they come back with a client, clearly they've been helping them, and clearly I'm okay to wait a few minutes until they finish their transaction. So what I'm saying to the vitamin shop, whoever the trainers are, whoever trains personnel or whatever, you really, really, really need to rethink that thing. That is probably the craziest idea that I have ever heard. I cannot imagine stopping a person that has $200 or $300 worth of vitamins and helping someone that just came to the counter who may have been there 3 minutes, 10 minutes, 4 minutes, who knows? And what difference does it make? Or either hire more personnel, hire more salespeople, and have someone at the counter at all times and let the other people. Now, they're very personable in the vitamin shop, and even as the young lady was telling me that she was trained that way, she had a great big smile on her face. So I'm here to tell you that I was in the same position that I was in, the opposite position that I was in the last time I went in there, and clearly they're trained like that. Go figure. So when you go into the vitamin shop to shop for vitamins or whatever it is that you're shopping for, just know that if you're standing there for a few minutes and someone comes and says, can they help you, and just totally disregard the person that they're dealing with, just know that they've been trained that way. What can I say? I would love to give them a sales course. I'd love to go down and train each and every one, because as we know, sales is a very, very big, you know what, it's not so much as a product, because the vitamin shop they have great prices, but let me tell you something. I have gone into different places that had prices that were a little higher than the vitamin shop, but the service was excellent. And I drive back to it, and I go back to that place because I like the service. I go there because even if they don't have what I want, I go back and pick up other little things that I need, and then I go to I mean, I'm not saying the vitamin shop has bad service. They don't. I mean, everybody says the stupid stuff with a smile. I mean, they really believe, and they've clearly been trained like that. So, and they have a smile on their face, and they're very personable, and they're really nice, but they just need different training. So anyway, that's my take on the vitamin shop. So, if you go there and you run into the same thing that I ran into, just know they've been trained like that. All right, so now, and vote, 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 vote. That's another thing. Vote, 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 vote. I have not had I can't say I have anybody on the suck wall this week because, no one was sucky this week. Everybody was really, I had a good time this week. Isn't that nice? That I don't have anybody on the suck wall this week? I mean, the same ones are on the suck wall from last time, but I can honestly say that the suck wall is empty today. And that's a good thing. That's a really good thing, because nobody wants to be on the suck wall. But wait, I do have one little thing that I do want to talk about, and I know that I'm not nitpicking. Wachovia has, Wells Fargo they bought Wachovia, and now Wachovia is now Wells Fargo. And I did go into Wells Fargo to do a transaction the other day. Someone gave me a check, but anyway, I don't need to go into all that. But anyway, I went to Wells Fargo to do a transaction, and they're very corporate. You know what I'm saying? They don't have that warm, fuzzy feeling. When I walk into Wells Fargo, they don't know my name. And I was a little disappointed, because when I walked into Wachovia, they all knew my name. Hello, hello, hello. They were just hi, 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 hi. And it was really, really nice. It was nice. I liked that personal touch, and I was really, really afraid, and I know you guys heard me talk about it, that when Wells Fargo bought Wachovia, that they would inherit, or incorporate that warm family type feeling. But anyway, I walked into Wells Fargo, and immediately they started to try to sell me something that I clearly didn't need or didn't want. And they weren't forceful with it. They still have a smile on their face, but all of it is very corporate and very, you can tell that they either earn points, rewards, or something for getting new accounts or something. They're not So I had to just stop right then and say, listen, let me call the person that I trust that came from Wells Fargo, from Wachovia, that is now within this Wells Fargo family, who is Benjamin, and I trust him. If you guys ever go to Wells Fargo, definitely go and see Benjamin. He's very trustworthy, and not only is he trustworthy, if you want to know any information about your accounts or anything like that, he stops, he takes the time. And let me tell you what he does. When you come in, he takes the chair out for you. He's very personable. I like that. I like to see gentlemen. You don't see him anymore. I mean, it used to be, do you guys remember when you walked into a room as a lady that men stood up? Or when you walked into a room, they took their hats off when they came into a room? Do you remember them opening car doors and closing car doors? And when you came into a restaurant, you know what I'm saying, that they ordered for you? And does anybody remember that? I didn't sign up. I'm raising my hand right now. I never signed up for Women's Lib. I never signed up for that. I am so tired of hearing men say, well, I don't open car doors, or I don't stand up, or I don't take my hat off because you women don't appreciate it. That's not all women. That's not all of us. Some of us enjoy flowers. Some of us enjoy men being men. Some of us enjoy men making decisions, being providers, doing what men do. All of us did not sign up for, burn the bra and, we're strong and we can do all these things. All of us didn't sign up for that. So, you know what, men, you keep on being men, and you continue to open car doors and continue to be men. Even if the women are not smart enough to appreciate you, or even if they say, I can open my own car door, you just tell them, listen, I know that you can, but allow me to open it anyway. I would do this anyway. My nephew always opens the car doors, and he always makes sure that we're safe. And when we go out to eat, he's always holding my sister and I. He always holds our arms, and he escorts us into the place, and he makes sure that we have everything. And then when we sit down and discuss what we want to eat, when the waiter comes to the table, he always says, okay, I'm ordering for them first. She'll have this, she'll have that, and I'll have. It's just wonderful. It is so wonderful to be in the company of men. It's just wonderful. Men, continue to be men. Please keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. No matter what they say, we all did not sign up for that program of the bra burning. All right, now enough of that. So, and I'm really saying this because I've seen a lot of young girls out there that just kind of, just sign up for anything. I mean, it's kind of like, that's another program. I just terribly disappointed in some of our young ladies. I've seen some that just very loud, very boisterous, and very just kind of out there. And what I am saying is that, hey, listen, men, you know what? Do you know that it's in a man's nature to protect, to nurture, to provide? Do you know that's in his nature? And do you know that if we don't allow them to do that, they won't do it if we don't allow them to do it. So when men want to do things, it's in their nature. God made them like that. God made them to protect, provide, and he made us to nurture. Do you remember the story of Samson and Delilah? Do you remember how she stroked Samson and he told her everything that she wanted to know because she was a good listener? And she allowed him to be a big, strong man. Remember? Yeah, that's the way it is. We must allow men to be men, ladies. So let's stop opening up our car doors. Let's just stop. Just like they started burning bras, let's just stop, and let's just put our dresses back on and take our pants off, put our dresses back on, and let's just be ladies again. And let's just be ladies and just demand the respect that we used to get. Do you remember that? Don't you remember when men stood up when you walked in a room? Anyway, enough of that. Okay, so now, no, I'm just saying about the vitamin shop. You can still go and all that. Just know that that's going to happen, da-da-da. I'm saying again, I'm wrapping up about voting because I think it's very important that we vote. I will be out in the community hassling you about voting, and those that have not registered, I will be asking about voter. I will be working on voter registration because we had a low turnout. The other thing that I want to say is Father's Day coming up on Sunday, and for all you fathers, all you wonderful husbands, all you wonderful daddies that have children, and you have your parents and your daddies, I want to say happy Father's Day to you. I want to say that I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful Father's Day. I hope you get lots and lots of love, because presents are not really a big thing. Some of you are golfers, and some of you, you know, just do a lot of different things. But what I'm saying to you is that have a wonderful Father's Day. The fact that your children have all this love and look at you with these big adoring eyes because you're their dad. Do you know that when children are small, that they say, that's my mommy, that's my mommy. When they're little, that's my, and then when they become teenagers, my mama crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? They never hardly say my daddy crazy. They say my mama crazy. But when they're little, it's my mommy this, my mommy that. So, dads, you know, love the mothers, and just respect the fact that they have stretched their bodies out for you to make you a daddy, and that you have a day that your children honor you, and you should be very, very proud. So love the mommies that made you daddies, and love the children that adore you as daddies. Have a wonderful, wonderful Father's Day, and thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to vote. Vote, 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 vote. I'm Rick the Critic. I'm signing off and saying thank you very much, and have a great Father's Day, and I look forward to coming into your living room again. Good night.
Rick, the critic, Rick, the critic, when she come into your place, yo, you best not forget it. She gon' tell you how it is, cause she's Rick the critic. When she all up in your city, yo, you best not forget it. Let you know if she like it, and if she get with it. Let the whole world know and be the first to admit it. Let you know if it's good and if she dig it, cause she's Rick the critic, Rick the critic, Rick the critic. She the first to admit it if she can't dig it, cause she's Rick the critic, 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 Rick the critic.